My ex left me for a tech celebrity, so imagine his face when I was assigned to evaluate his company.
My name is Ethan Wright. I evaluate risk for a living. As a partner at Nexus Ventures in San Francisco, my job is to identify which startups have the potential to become giants and which ones are just flashy illusions. I deal in foundations, not fads. Precision, not hype. But 3 years ago, I made an investment that had nothing to do with spreadsheets or market forecasts. Her name was Chloe Williams. She wasn't like the others who approached me at tech mixers with rehearsed pitches. She sat beside me at the bar, ordered an old-fashioned, and started discussing computing architecture like it was small talk. Her intelligence was magnetic. Before I knew it, the mixer had turned into breakfast, and breakfast had turned into something real. 6 months later, we were living together in a penthouse overlooking the bay. We were a power couple, debating valuation models over dinner. I believed we were building a shared future. One evening, Chloe told me she wanted to get her MBA at Stanford. It was expensive, nearly $200,000. But she was brilliant, and I knew she could become a titan in the industry. I didn't hesitate. I told her I'd pay for it. She was overjoyed. At dinner the next weekend, she jokingly drafted an investment agreement on a napkin, promising infinite returns in the form of our shared future. We both signed it. I thought it meant we were in this together. For her first semester, everything seemed perfect. But by the second, the calls became shorter, the visits fewer. The enthusiasm toward me faded. Then I learned about Julian Reeves, a tall, polished tech celebrity who had sold a startup and returned to Stanford to find his next big idea. Chloe started speaking about him too casually, too warmly. At a networking event, I overheard him bragging that she was wasted on that VC robot and needed someone who shared her big vision. When someone asked about her MBA funding, Julian laughed and called it my parting gift to the tech world. I stayed quiet, observed, collected data. Then came the tagged photos, weekend trips, bonfire parties. Chloe leaning into Julian, his arm around her. And the receipt I found for a romantic weekend getaway she'd claimed was a conference. I planned to talk to her, but she beat me to it. One Tuesday night, I came home with a bottle of champagne to celebrate closing a funding round. She was sitting at the dining table, wearing the dress I'd bought for our anniversary. "I've met someone else," she said. "His name is Julian." She spoke about their connection, their plans, their future. She dismissed my work as passive, claiming I only judged others instead of building anything myself. Then came the final blow. I'm leaving. Julian wants me by his side as his co-founder. I asked about Stanford, the MBA I was paying for. She shrugged, claiming it was an investment in her future now. She treated our relationship like an underperforming asset she was selling off. I didn't get angry. I didn't beg. I just said, I understand completely. She expected a fight. She didn't get one. 2 hours later, I had separated our finances. The next morning, I pulled my funding from Stanford. She had 30 days before being removed from the program. I revoked her access to our building and had her belongings packed and waiting in the lobby. When she called, screaming, I kept my tone calm. "It wasn't a gift," I said. "It was an investment. And the agreement is void." The next morning, Julian showed up at my office. He suggested I keep paying for Chloe's MBA, and in return he'd give my firm early access to invest in his new startup. He wanted me to bankroll the woman who left me for him. I threw him out, but the universe wasn't done. A month later, my own firm asked me to lead the due diligence on that same startup, Elysium. Julian had no idea what was coming. For 3 weeks, I dissected his company. I tore apart the architecture, interviewed former colleagues, and cross-referenced patents. What I found was explosive. Elysium's core technology was almost identical to proprietary code from CoreConnect, Chloe's former employer. The timeline matched perfectly. Julian hadn't built anything. He had stolen it. And Chloe had helped him. At the investment meeting, Julian gave a flawless pitch. Then it was my turn. I calmly presented my findings, side-by-side code comparisons, the truth about his last company, and the undeniable proof of theft. The room went silent. Julian panicked, accusing me of being a jealous ex. I just presented the facts. My partner shut down the investment instantly. In the weeks that followed, CoreConnect sued Elysium. Investors fled. Julian's reputation collapsed. Chloe was dropped from Stanford and lost her entire future in tech. She reached out months later, asking to meet. She apologized, admitted she'd been manipulated, and said leaving me was the biggest mistake of her life. I believed her, but it didn't change anything. I didn't take her back. I didn't offer comfort. I just let her go. 6 months later, my firm voted me in as managing partner. My work saved them from a $50 million disaster. Julian vanished from the tech scene. Chloe moved back home to work at her father's small accounting firm. On my office wall hangs the napkin she once signed. Not as a reminder of her, but as a reminder that even in love, due diligence is everything. I don't know if you'd call what I did revenge, but I know one thing. Sometimes just doing your job well is the best revenge in the world. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more.